events taking place in the morning hours. I believe one of them takes place actually even earlier, like 5 o'clock in the morning Pacific time. Those are for the real diehards who can get up at that hour. Just a couple of quick side notes. I think Mark Holmes, you're online. Mark, send me an email. I'm going to send you my flight schedule for Edmonton, Los Angeles, Malaysia, Thailand, and Japan. Of course, everybody will know what that is ultimately. If you have people in any of those locations, be sure to send them to where we will be doing the events that are up and coming, not only this month, but going into next month. And this is only the beginning. And this is only my schedule. There are many other schedules of other leaders who are traveling at this time. As an example, Phil Jacobson, for those of you that don't know, Distributor of the Year, last year, 2012, left 2 days ago for New Zealand. So he's gone to New Zealand for 2 weeks with Sean Danaher, another one of our leaders. And it's not all vacation. It's been a little under the radar, but I'm hearing things about New Zealand being opened also in the very near future. Notice how I said that, the very near future. That means probably a couple of months and maybe sooner, maybe weeks. But he's out there now doing the preliminary groundwork, so they're not just looking at the pretty sights. Nobody gets on a plane for 27 hours for a vacation. Well, some people do, but I think there's some things going on out there. So Australia and New Zealand, 2 places that'll be on the move. And I think the appropriate theme for this week and what we do on these focus calls is we focus in, and that's the reason for the name, the Go Diamond Focus Call, is that we focus in on what would be appropriate for the up and coming week or cycle, or even pay period for that matter. But for this week, what would be appropriate? Well, obviously, we're at the start of a brand new pay period. That's period 59. And we are in cycle 1 of period 59. And so obviously, we want to get the maximum, the absolute maximum benefit, the maximum leverage coming out of the gates for a new pay period going forward. And so I think it appropriate that we focus in on what would be the primary business building activities, the most productive business building activities for cycle 1 of period 59. I want to, before we get into those specific activities, I just want to frame up one other concept. And we've talked about this before, but there may be new people on this line. And also, if we have veterans that have heard, this particular topic before, it's okay, because spaced repetition of the same concept is a good thing. That's how we learn. That's how we internalize. That's how I internalize. I have learned this business by repetition. Not because I did it one time and did it right the first time, because I did it over and over and over again. Regardless of how many errors or mistakes that I made, I kept doing it. By doing it over and over again, eventually I got better at it. And then over time, I became an expert at it and didn't even realize I had become an expert. It's just something that happens because of repetition. And that is the concept of making sure that we are informed. Everybody that's on this line has a desire to build a successful business. I know, because many of the names that come on this particular call every Monday morning are people that I've worked with now for quite some time, some very close, some side by side. Some we see each other at events and we speak on occasion on the phone. We all have the desire to build a successful team, a growing team, a duplicating organization, a team that's got lots of leaders and lots of structure. Well, conversation last night with another one of our teammates here in Toronto, and we were talking about understanding the concept of teaching and guiding, mentoring another person. And the idea was that we can only teach, we can only guide, we can only mentor, we can only coach another person if we ourselves have the knowledge and the information and the training to give away. We can't give away that which we do not have. We can only give to another person what we have. And so it's a good reminder for me also, because I want to go to the next level. I want to advance also. And in order for me to go to the next level, I have to also raise my own personal game. There's really no end to that, right? They say that the road to success is always under construction. It is. It's a never-ending process. We should be growing all the way to the very end of our long lives. We need to be growing. And in our business, it's the same thing. There is no arrival point. There is no destination. There's only the horizon that we can see, and then when we get to that destination, well, there's another horizon, right? The horizon keeps moving out. The closer we get to it, well, we can see beyond the point that we focused on as soon as we start moving towards that point. And so the same thing should be said, that if we are going to be effective teachers, effective coaches, we're going to sponsor somebody and then be able to effectively get them plugged into our system of duplication, then we ourselves must be plugged in. And so the point that I'm making here is there is a lot going on in Zija. A lot. There's a lot going on. Thailand's about to open. Bermuda just opened. These announcements were made on the conference call just on Saturday. The company made those announcements about all the different places that are now open for business. And that includes Malaysia. That includes, well, of course, New Zealand up and coming, and so forth. And so we should all be very aware of all these things as it relates to where we are focused. In other words, there are people on our team, some of whom have a lot of influence in a particular area, others who have influence in a different area. You know, Mark Holmes is on the line this morning. He's a gentleman underneath Chris Thomas and a few other people in one of the teams. Mark lives in Baltimore. Mark's got people on the phone this morning, actually via Skype. So he's using Skype to stream in all the people in the Malaysian market that he is working with, so that they are getting trained, they are getting some of the language of Zija, they're getting prepared for when I come out there in the month of March, and they'll have a little bit of sort of orientation coming out of the gates. And they're listening to this call right now. Okay, it's late night in Malaysia, probably about 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and he's using Skype to do that. And he's making sure that he's got his teammates informed. He's making sure that they are plugged in. Okay, that's the key. Those who are effectively doing that are setting themselves up to duplicate. They're setting themselves up to grow. We can't grow unless our team knows what to do. I mean, right? I mean, Ron Goals often says it this way, right? Ron says, you know, what do we have going on here? We have babies making babies. And so what does that mean? Well, a brand new person signs up in Zija today, right? You and I go out, we follow up with a prospect who we gave a CD to, who we gave a sample to, or a trial pack, or a fit pack, and the person chooses to come on board. And so we work with that person, and I'm going to just use you, Mario. And who do I have on the moderator line this morning? Anybody? Anybody on there?
Mark. This is Mark Mandela.
Okay, so I follow up with Mark, and I give Mark a call. And by the way, Mark, congratulations on some of the new rank advancements on your team while we're at it. So I follow up with Mark, and Mark, I've given you a CD, I've given you some product trial packs or what we call fit packs, and you decide that you've never been in this business before. In fact, you've never even been in network marketing. Forget about this is another company for you. And I sign you up because you're excited about it, and you are brand new. Should I assume that you know what to do, how to get into your back office, how to get your first two people, what a binary is, how to qualify? Would you be expected to know that, or obviously you wouldn't know that, correct?
Absolutely not. Matter of fact, people, David, that I've been involved with many years, the ones that don't know anything about network marketing, those are the ones that do very little or they do the wrong things.
Okay, so bottom line is, my point is this, is Mark would be, or the person that I sponsor, I've just sponsored, would be a baby in the business. They really don't know anything, but they're excited, right? And so what happens? When you have momentum, well, there's an event coming up in Toronto, and 2 or 3 of those new people that don't know anything yet, they go out and bring another 2 or 3 other people into the business. They just sign them up. Why? Because the 2 people they brought in are their best friends. I mean, these are the friends that you give a call and the friend says, you know what, I'm in, let's do it. He or she doesn't even know what they're joining, but they join anyways, they get involved, and now you have the concept of babies making babies, okay? I got a brand new person that doesn't know anything, who just bought 2 more people who don't know anything either. And then we do a little promotion at the event, and the 2 people who just came in underneath the person that came in before them brings in another couple people who don't know anything, right? They haven't had any training yet. They haven't been to a Super Saturday. They haven't been on a conference call. I now have 6 or 7 people, 1, 2, 3, even 4 levels in depth, and nobody knows anything. Okay? And you see where the duplication can stop. The replication can stop. My business doesn't grow because the team that I have don't really know what they're supposed to be doing. They don't understand the comp plan. They don't understand how to qualify. They don't know the packages. They don't know what auto reorder is exactly, right? And so forth. Okay, so having made that point, the key is to be informed. Before we can effectively help the people on our team understand these basic concepts and ideas, we must ourselves be fully knowledgeable. We got to make sure that we are informed. And that's what these morning calls, evening calls, and tomorrow night's power hour call are all about. And that, I just want to, people say, why do I need to be on that? Why do I need to be, it's the same. Why? So that you are plugged in, so that you are informed, so that you are armed with all of the tools and knowledge to transfer to another person. That's why. Okay? And, you know, it's another level of growth in our business. Step 1, we come into the business, we're thrilled, we're excited, we're moved, we're inspired because of the products. Right? We love the products. And people get very, very much indoctrinated because of the world-class products that Zija markets. They love the products. Oh, by the way, speaking of which, the company just expanded the manufacturing facilities by almost double. What everybody saw in Utah in the convention, in October of last year, when we went to convention, there's been another building that's been purchased, an entire building right beside the existing building for raw materials and more machinery that's coming in to advance manufacturing operations in preparation for 30 countries opening up over the next 12 months. Right? When Asia gets going, they're going to need to double, triple the capacity, right? And Asia's going to be going it won't be long. Probably by the summer, Asia's going to be humming. The company will need to expand. So, by the way, that's also happened. And so, this week, let's get down to the theme of this call. This week, there's 3 major back-to-back conference calls where you can really advance the growth of your business. People often ask me, what do I do to create the momentum and the growth that I have? And the answer is I work smart, not necessarily that hard, right? Being on this conference call in the morning, by the way, I just want to thank Karen Hill for taking the call last week. I was stuck I was on a flight on the way to Salt Lake City to the home office, and she took the call for me, and Fred Holmes took the Millionaires in Training call, just on a side note. But being efficient, being on this call allows me to leverage 30 minutes of time with all the people that are on. There's a lot of great people on this call. Mark and Hazel and Mark out of Baltimore, Rich Slayback, and others. By the way, listen for that guy, Rich Slayback, that you've heard on the phone from Texas, because he'll be a up-and-coming star, amongst other people. There's many people on this line that will be too, but that's a gentleman I was blessed to be able to sponsor. That's him and his wife, Emily. And so I'm leveraging this 30 minutes of time. Now tonight, we're going to do the Millionaires in Training call. And on tonight's call, it's been well promoted. So it's a call that we're going to have probably 300, maybe 400 people on the call tonight. It'll be a big one, okay? Everybody should do their best to have their team on that call, but more importantly than having your team on the call, make sure your team has at least one guest each, at least one, if not 2 or 3, but have one, so that the call has value for you beyond just some good information, right? You know, put somebody on there that you can sponsor. Now, here's the process this week to really growing your business. I want to grow my business this week by at least 2,000 to 3,000 new people. Now, I'm talking about the whole network. You'll be talking about your network, your team. I'm talking about my entire worldwide organization. If we bring on another 3,000 people this week, then that'll set us up for a really good week the following week. Because the following week, we got the big event in Toronto, followed by a big event out west. Now, how am I going to do that? Well, yes, I'll be doing basic meetings. I'll be doing 3-way calls, but I will also do this call tonight, and we will use this call tonight to paint the picture of Zija, to give people the vision so they have an understanding of what's possible and what is, in fact, happening as we speak. And we will use tonight's call to be the training ground to create the fertilizer to build for tomorrow's Power Hour call. Now, at the beginning of each pay period, so in cycle 1 of a new period, the first Tuesday is when we do the corporate Power Hour call. And so we're doing tomorrow. Tomorrow is the first Tuesday of period 59 in the first cycle, and that's the Power Hour call. There's going to be somewhere around 3,000 people on that call tomorrow night. from everywhere, from all over the world. And the company's going to make a couple of announcements. They may even mention they're going to mention some of the new countries that have opened. They'll announce the new black diamonds. We've got about 4 of them in the company now that have just broken rank from triple diamond on their way to diamond elite. That happened at the end of last period, the last cycle 4. They're going to announce some additions to the Fit Pack. They're going to announce other countries lined up, and a few other things. And that call, so between tonight's call and tomorrow night's call, we could have 3, 4, 5, 6 prospects or people that we want to sponsor in the funnel, in the exposure process. Now, of course, all these people that we put onto tonight's call and tomorrow night's call, because of the 3 ways that we're doing during the day and one-on-one meetings and et cetera, they're all going to say, well, what about the product? I need to have my questions answered regarding the product. And then what happens? On Wednesday, we build for a mega call with our formulator, Russ Bianchi, right? And on that call, we put a couple of thousand people on it, full of guests, not just distributors, guests, all the people that you had on Monday, tonight, and the people that you have tomorrow. And you have them on the Wednesday call. And by the end of the Wednesday call, a good portion of the network worldwide has a whole bunch of new people that are in the system, new babies, okay, who then are in the process of learning the basics, understanding the system, knowing what the tools are, and they are prepared to then duplicate and grow and go get their 2 and speed qualify by getting 2 within 28 days. And then by the end of this period 59, you've broken a new builder 500, a new builder 1,000, right? You've helped a couple of people advance and rank advance, and maybe 1 or 2 of those people were really, really clear and really effective, and they became silver or gold their first pay period. Right? And then they attend one of the dinners at the Gold Rush events. As an example, in 2 weeks we have the dinner here in Toronto. There are people right now who are striving to achieve gold, to be at that dinner. And there are people doing exactly the same to be at the dinner in Edmonton, west coast of Canada. And there's a couple of areas in the U.S. Where people are also striving to move up one more rank. And so, just to kind of summarize all of what we've talked about on this call, when we ourselves, me and you, are laser focused on this cookie cutter process of one event leading to the next event, right? Or as Ron says, BAM fam, book a meeting from a meeting, right? I have a meeting with someone and I book the next meeting. I book the next presentation. Book a meeting from a meeting, right? Promote the call tonight so that I can build on tonight's call for tomorrow night's call. And on tomorrow night's call, I can build tomorrow night's call to lead right in to the Wednesday call, right? Book a meeting from a meeting. Book an event from event. Then we start to create momentum. And that momentum starts to build. And it can be done at the PBR level, right? At the home presentation level. I have a a PBR at my house Tuesday night. Speaking of which, I just remembered, so they're going to be sitting here during the Power Hour call. So I'll have 8, 9 people sitting in my living room right here during the Power Hour call. I'll put the Power Hour call on speaker, and they will hear a global conference call. That'll be their first exposure to Zija, or their second exposure. The first exposure was the person who invited them to the presentation, and the second exposure, are the new people sitting in my family room listening to a global conference call being done from the family room. I'll do it with my speakerphone. And they're going to go, I got the vision. I can see. Oh my goodness, this is going to be huge. And I'm sitting right here in Toronto at a home presentation. I'm in. And now, of course, I need to show them what to do. So, let's bring it down to the basics now. Let's bring it right down to what do I do? I'm new in the business, or I'm just getting started. I'm not yet a gold, or I'm a bronze on the way to silver, or silver on the way to gold, or builder 1000, or whatever our rank is. What I just talked about is the same process that a person would do if they just signed up and joined the business today. What would they do? They would make a list. They would make contact with people on that list using the support of their sponsor or upline leadership. They will invite those people to listen to a call, to come to a home presentation, to try the product, to listen to a CD, or to watch a DVD, or to go online to a webinar, or do what Mark Holmes is doing. Invite people from Malaysia on Skype to feed right into a call. By the way, Mark, you got to teach me what you're doing there. How do you just have the phone beside the speaker or the microphone, or how does it work? And you can show me that a little bit later, how you've got the people streaming in from Malaysia, right? And you're just inviting people to take a look. And the goal is, if you're new, to get your first 2 people. And if you got your first 2, the goal is to get 2 more and help the 2 that you got, help them get their 2. That's it. And then as you go to the higher levels, the higher ranks, all we're really doing is duplicating that process. That's all we're doing. We're not doing anything else. Okay, so tonight, Millionaires in Training, building towards the Power Hour call tomorrow with corporate and everybody from around the world, building towards the formulator, Russ, and maybe we'll get Russ and Dr. Bowers on the Wednesday call. We'll do a blockbuster, right? And we do the Wednesday call, and then all those people have their product questions answered. They're all ready to go. And you start your pay period off with a whole new crew and teaching the crew that you have to leverage off of all these tools. Now, Dale Taylor, who's on the line with us, he has a lot of nice icebreakers that he uses when he's inviting people, and one of them, this is just one of several that he uses, but one of them is, when we're talking to a friend or an associate, is, Mark, are you keeping your income options open these days? Are you open to possibility, really? I'm not selling Mark anything, I'm just asking him if he's keeping his options open. And so I was thinking, Dale, over the weekend, and I thought, for the real skeptical types, I could even make it even harder for them to say no, I think, right? Mark, listen, would you be willing to keep your income options open for the next 1 hour, right? I mean, take it right down to where a person, it would be almost impossible for the person to say no, right? I mean, even the most skeptical person would say, okay, for 1 hour, I'm going to keep my income options open. Heck, you could even take it down to 30 minutes, right? Would you be willing, would you be open to keeping your income options open for 1 hour? And then we get the person on the call, on the line, in the system, and let the system do the work. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what we do. And this week, make it a point, make it a focus to be informed and keep your people informed. Make sure they're plugged in. Make sure they have guests with them on each one of these events, because these are the events leading up to big local events, gold rush events, regionals, and all the things that are taking place throughout the ZG universe. It's really, it's going to be a great year. I can see it. I see what the company's doing. I can see where all the leaders are at. Everybody is on the move, And before you know it, you wake up one morning and we're twice the size of where we are now. Just like that. Make sure that you have a little piece of it. You don't need all of it, just a little piece. The only person that gets all of it is the owner of the company. Me and you, we all get a little piece of it. And so let's advance our businesses, not for the sake of our own businesses, but for the sake of all the people we get to help along the way. Because that's really what motivates me. I just love watching others advance and have success. So with that, everybody, have an awesome Cycle 1, period 59. Let's build for a big Millionaires in Training call tonight. And I wish everybody a great day. Thank you. The lines are open. Thank you. Very soon. Very soon for the call. David, California. Thank you, David. Thank you. I called David Elizabeth Alexander, Sacramento, California. Dr. Sheila, thank you, David. Francis from New York. Sacramento, California. Thanks, David. Everything you do. Jacksonville, North Carolina. Philadelphia, Ohio. In Georgia. Thanks, David, from Ingrid in Helena, Montana. Great call, David. Ingrid, Dallas, Texas. Thanks, Thanks, David. Ron Dittmark from Brooklyn, New York. David Adams, Frederick, Maryland. Hey, David. Thanks for the call, David. Willie Grove in Dover, Ohio. Willie, how are you, sir? Good to hear your voice. I'm great. You know what? Willie, maybe you want to consider coming up to the Gold Rush here, spending a little time up here in Toronto with me. I just heard about that. I'm going to check my schedule. I'm in Daytona Beach the 24th, so if it's before that, I'll be up. You know what? You can make it. You can do it. You go home. You go home on the 23rd. Maybe you want to come over to the house and hang out for a little bit with me and Ryan and Russ and a couple of the other people, and there's people flying in. So you can come for the 22nd, which is the dinner, right? The Gold Rush dinner. You can be here for that. And then you can hang out on the 23rd for the training. Leave after the training. You'll be home by 11 o'clock at night. You'll be on your way to Daytona the next morning. I'd be home by 11 if I drove your car. All right, so you're home at 11:30. No big deal, you know? Gotcha. So as long as the weather's good, you know, it'd be a nice drive. We'll make sure we look after you when you come up here, okay? All right, David, thank you. All right, bye-bye. Thanks, David. Best of luck. This is Philly, Ohio. Thanks, David. I'll tell you Sweden.
Thanks, David. Mark Holmes, Baltimore, Maryland, with distributors and guests online from Malaysia. I sent you the email, too, by the way.
Thank you, David. This is Cacho J from Malaysia.